And now, Coast to Coast RIA presents the Experts Corner with Pete Asmus. Now, get ready to go make something happen, because in this series, it's all about actionable information with different experts, strategies, and solutions from around the country. You won't be able to help but catapult your life into a new direction. So get ready, because we are about to begin.
And now from Coast to Coast, your host, Pete Asmus.
All right. I love that. I can sit there and do that all day long, man.
Who are those cute, adorable children on that recording?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. They are blowing up. Did you hear their new song, by the way, today?
No.
Haley has a new song.
Hey, listen, you can't be like always showing up my children. My children are the songwriters. Your children are good on camera. That's how it works, Pete.
Well, I'm telling you right now, she's sang a song called Alopecia's Awesome. Alopecia's cool if you're bald like me. Alopecia's awesome. Just you wait and see. So basically took the Everything is Awesome song and put Alopecia is Awesome to it. And that's what she sang today. And now her and her sister, that's what they're going to sing from now on. So now I got to find the karaoke version of that so they can make up their whole Alopecia is Awesome song. But I'm excited because today is the Experts Corner. I'm Pete Asmus. I'm your co-host. My other co-host, who is refusing to come out until, I don't know if she gets her makeup on or what the deal is, but she will be turning on her camera here shortly. Jillian Sidoti. And here's what I'm excited about tonight, right? Tonight we're going to talk all about getting access to Perfect. Thank you so much for putting up that's a great. So
I gotta change
me and the blob over here. It's this is great. Not that anybody on the podcast will even be able to hear this, and all the people watching on the video don't even get to see us. You have to watch live to see this kind of awesome interaction here between me and a green wall.
Hold on, I got two webcams. The wrong one's on. Hold on.
Okay, there we go. Now we're talking to a human being. So here's what's going to be exciting about tonight, guys. Tonight, we have an all-access pass to, in Jillian's terms, all-access pass to Jillian Sidoti. She is a fantastic lawyer. She's all about syndication, understands it, so blacks out. She doesn't, you know what? She doesn't even want to be seen by you guys. You guys aren't even good enough to have her witness the presence of Jillian Sidoti. So, are you washing cars over there? What's going on? Oh my God, this is nothing. Are you in the, okay. I don't even know what's going on with you. Okay, turn off your camera. We'll go camera free. We'll go camera free because that apparently I'm
adjusting it so you don't
throwing you into
a
loop, man. The good part is that Jillian is not an expert at videos, right? Or cameras, as you can tell. She is, however, an expert at actually finding money, at solving the problem of how to do it the right way. So here's what I'm excited about tonight. Tonight, we get to ask Jillian whatever we want. Now, she's also got a presentation that she's going to put together, or that she did put together. But more important, I'm excited about us being able to ask some really, really poignant questions and be able to find out, how do we do this the right way? Because the reality is there's a lot of people doing it the wrong way. There's a lot of people doing it that could be pulled up by the FCC and the CEA and the FBI and the LOC and the Snoop DOGG. I mean, you have no idea who's coming after you, but Jillian is all about making sure that the DOC stays away from you. So
if Snoop Dogg's coming after you,
the Snoop DOGG
that I cannot help you with.
No, it's so there's a line. So basically, you have a line where you don't cross.
Right, and pretty much when it's gangster rappers.
But it's a gang, okay.
That's
where you draw the line. Got it. Okay. Well, hey, everybody's got to have boundaries, and I'm with you on that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to you because I think I just had a couple of slides up that I want to go ahead and turn this over. And hand this over to you, Jillian. And this is how this is going to work. And I know this is your first time checking this out. So we're going to give you the platform. So pretend like you're at the Note Investor Summit, or pretend like you're at Apple or Prima or any one of the hundreds of locations that you go and speak at on a monthly basis, right? I want you to pretend like you're there, and then I am going to be your sweet, awesome friend that's going to interject and jump in and interrupt you. And then we're going to dig down rabbit holes and ask questions. And everybody that's listening, they can ask questions. And when they ask them over here, I'll ask them to you. If anybody wants to ask any questions to your own, you can also raise your hand. And when I see that, I will unmute you and call on you. So here's the cool part. Jillian, this is going to be a Superman. I don't know why I'm looking over there because the camera's here. This is going to be, this is going to be a Jillian production, all right, with a Pete overtone and all of you guys wrapped into the mix, all right? So we get to do whatever we want tonight. That's the beauty of the Expert's Corner, is we're going to grab an expert, we're going to put her in the corner, and then we're going to beat her until she tells us everything we want to hear. And that's just, beat as in like celebrate. We're going to celebrate her in the corner until she tells us what we want to hear. So with that, Jillian, you've got the calm now, right?
The calm?
Are you delayed right now? Are you in Australia? What is going on right now? She's like, okay, yeah, right. Yes, okay. There's not a delay. You're like a foot away from me over in the house, like 5 houses over there. So I don't understand. There cannot be this big delay with you and I.
I don't know,
Okay,
because
good.
your mouth, it's like a Godzilla movie for me. So your mouth is moving, and then the words come.
Man, this is when I go like that. Just light it up, man. I will just like that.
I can read your lips. I know those are dirty words.
All right. You're up, Jillian. You've got the calm, you've got the enterprise, you are in command, basically. So you can go ahead and bring up your screen now.
All right. Alrighty.
Oh. Here. That was not what I meant to do.
Well, I did it. I changed myself. Do you want me to change it back?
No. I just freaked out. Like everything just went like berserk on me, but we're good now.
Okay, hold on. Now,
I just want to make sure everybody can hear. Oh man, Mike Jensen said that I'm awesome and that you, it's Pete 2, Jillian Sidoti 1. So I don't know what that means, but,
Pete, wait, what? Wait,
what?
Pete,
No.
Pete
2.
Who's winning? Wait a minute. I gotta understand who's winning.
No, me. Yeah, this is my show, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you say. I'm always going to be winning. I win. It's called I win.
I see how it is.
Remember, I win. It's called I win. Remember that game?
No, I don't.
It's I win. It's just I win. What do you got? I win. It's that easy.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
Interesting.
Okay, so you are up, and I'm going to go ahead and be quiet now and sit to the side and let you start to go through your little your spiel. Not little, but big spiel.
Okay,
I'm going to stop talking at this point.
All right, here we go. We're going to talk first about setting up your website for success. I'm going to pause my webcam for you guys for a second so you can see the slides, because I have on this next couple of slides I have some really things I want to point out on the slides themselves.
Yeah, there's like 6 words there, so I can see how that you're going to be a huge distraction.
Not this one.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, here we go. And a big transition and into the next slide. Oh,
wait, that wasn't the right kind of transition.
Professional.
Thank you.
This is how your website should not look. You probably wonder why, Jillian, do you start with how it should not look. Hey, Pete.
Wow.
I don't think this is recording.
It is.
Oh, because it says start recording on my side.
Yeah, but I'm recording on my side.
Oh, okay.
So
sorry.
So we're good. No, that's okay.
See, I'm screwing up the whole thing. Now you're gonna have to edit that out.
I'm gonna have to take that out now. Oh my God, seriously, working with unprofessionals is the worst thing in the world.
Okay, so
wait, was that out loud? Dang it, my mic was supposed to be muted.
The irony. Oh, the irony. Anyhow, This is a website that your website should not look. And the reason why I show you what your website should not look like first is because if I don't, you're going to take what I tell you you can do and then do all the stuff that you shouldn't do, and you won't listen to the stuff that you shouldn't do. You'll just pay attention to what you should do and then not pay attention to what you shouldn't do. So I always start off with what you should not
That was super clear.
First. All right, I'm just starting off with what you shouldn't do first for reasons that I need to know.
For reasons that you need to know? That was, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Okay. So here are some things you should not do. Earn better and safer returns on your money. Earn 8, 10, and even 12% annual returns. Are you looking for a safe, secure investment where you're in control? All of this stuff is illegal. When you're looking for private investors, what the rule says, what the law says, is that you cannot use means of general solicitation, which means you cannot go out there and shout from the rooftops, shout from Facebook, shout from LinkedIn or your website or the radio or TV that you are looking for investors. It's called a general solicitation and it's illegal. Now the thing I always get is, well, if I can't do those things, how the heck am I ever going to find investors? And I'm going to get to that, but first I want to show you what you can't do. So stuff like this, promising certain returns, saying that it's a safe, secure investment where they're in control when that's not necessarily true, those are all things that you cannot do on your website. Now this is a template that was being sold as part of a package of websites for real estate investors. I've had to answer more subpoenas because of this particular template. From state securities regulators for clients of mine because they used this thinking that they could raise money using this website when they were incorrect in their assessment. They cannot. Because having this kind of general solicitation, having this type of information on your website is not legal. So the other thing I want to say about that too is it's also not effective. How many people out there who are listening to this presentation right now have ever seen a website like this and said, oh, that looks like a good deal, I'm going to invest? And I would almost guarantee if we took a poll that every single person out there listening to this, no one would invest in this. So it's not only not legal, it's also not effective.
So let me ask you a question. Keep those things in mind. If it's not effective, why is everybody doing this? Because you see it all the time.
They don't know a better way. They think this is what they have to do. This is what they think people want to hear, because people think that they care about the returns, and that it's the returns that are really important, and the fact that they're safe and secure, that's all important. But it's like if I showed you a bottle of water and I told you the cure for cancer is in this bottle of water, if you just drink this water, you'll never get cancer, would you necessarily believe me? No. And it's the same thing.
Well, here's the other thing. It says, are you looking for a safe, secure investment where you're in control? Now, hold on. Yeah. How is it that you're going to be in control if it's such a great investment? How is it safe and secure if you're in control if you don't even know what you're doing?
Well, that's exactly it. That's not correct. See, what they're trying to imply from this website is that it's safe because it's in real estate. It's secure because we give you a deed of trust or mortgage in some circumstances. And where you're in control, their implication is that you get to pick the property. But it's all an illusion. And it's not even like, I don't even think folks who put these websites up mean for this to be an illusion. They're not looking to scam people out of money. They really think these are the things that people want to hear in order to invest, when that's not true at all. The biggest companies out there are the Apples, the Googles, the Amazons, the big REITs. They don't talk about the returns and where you're safe and secure and you're in control. They don't say anything like that. They talk about how awesome they are as a company. They show you the products and services that they offer. They convince you that they're an expert and that they know what they're doing by putting out the best products and services, not by telling people that they're going to make tons of money. Apple doesn't do their shareholder meeting and say, well, our stock's at $300 a share today, but we believe if you buy it today, it will go up to $400 a share in about 3 months, and so you really should invest. That's not what they do.
And it's safe and secure.
And it's safe. Yeah, they don't do any of that. They don't do anything. They don't go like, well, we have, cash equaling that of 3 third world countries, so maybe you should invest in it. I mean, they are safe and secure investment in that regard. So, yeah, but they don't do that. They instead talk about their products and services and position themselves as an expert in whatever it is that they do. And that's what you need to do.
That you have got to go to a David Fagan event, because that is so exactly what he's all about, positioning you as an expert. Why does that, tell me, Jillian, how does that help you? If you're an expert, if you're positioned as an expert, and if instead of you building your website to look like this, if instead you build it to look at how awesome we are with what we do, how does that affect the buyer? Or I'm sorry, the investor, who you're looking, your target.
That's exactly
audience.
how you get investors, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about positioning yourself as an expert. I'm going to show you websites that do work, but let me go on to what doesn't work and why you shouldn't do this. It's okay. This website cracks me up because it talks about why should you only be paid a paltry 1 to 2% when you can earn 8, 10, and 12. Annual interest on your money, and then it's like, find out how to invest with us by filling out this investor questionnaire. But then it does this thing that's it's really funny. Let me just point out these quick things: higher, safer interest income, low risk, safe return programs. Okay, let me tell you something. If you're a small private company, no matter what you're doing, the SEC does not think it's low risk, and the SEC does not think it's safe or secure. So don't use any of those words. As a matter of fact, for those of you out there that are sitting and listening to this while perhaps sitting at a desk and not driving, I want you to write these write these words down. Low risk, safe, secure, and guaranteed. And then after you write those 4 words down, low risk, safe, secure, and guaranteed, I want you to draw a skull and crossbones next to it, because those are words you should never be using when speaking to investors, especially the word guaranteed, because there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees in investing whatsoever. And I don't care what you try to tell me, like, well, I'm personally guaranteeing it. First of all, you don't need to do that. Not one of you out there needs to personally guarantee anything for any of your investors, and that reeks of desperation. So don't do it, please.
Okay, I like that. So you're saying, what you're saying is, I'm going out and I'm looking to get funding for something, and I walk up to you or to an investor, and they say, well, I want you to, well, it wouldn't be them saying that. It'd be you going up going, hey, look, this is a great deal and I'll personally guarantee it. That all of a sudden, it just sounds like there's something sketchy going on.
It sounds like something sketchy's going on. It sounds desperate. If your deal's so good, then why wouldn't other people invest in it? Why do you have to offer this personal guarantee? You don't have to do it. You just don't have to do it. There's enough people out there with money. I mean, it's kind of like, and I'll also give you the shirt off my back. Like, nobody wants the shirt off your back. Nobody wants it. And for you to offer it makes them go, whoa, wait, why? So you just don't need to do that. It falls flat. It's not helpful. It does nothing for you. It does nothing for your investors. So don't do it. You really should be acting a little more aloof. There's tons of money out there from people who want to invest, and you just need to know how to get it. And acting desperate and throwing in the kitchen sink of an offer you cannot refuse is not going to work. I see it happen time and time again.
Well, talk about like, remember when we were at Apple?
Yeah.
And you were on the panel in the Shark Tank. And when that happened, there was a gentleman that came up, and he was, he had 30 years experience. He owned the land. I think it was outright. He only needed the money to do actually the rehab. It was in California. There was like so many positive things. And he was like, and I'll give you money on the back end, and I'll do this. And you were like, hold on, stop Stop giving everything away. And he like got offended and was like, man, you don't understand. And you were like, no, you don't understand.
I know, that got a little heated.
Real money doesn't go like that. Real money isn't going to come at you like that. If you say that to real money freaks out. Right?
Right. Well, it's not just that, like, okay, so here we're both in Southern California. A lot of these listeners are here in Southern California, and his wasn't in Southern California. I think his deal was like up somewhere in Sacramento. And
yes, correct. It was just in California.
It was in California, but it doesn't matter where in California, unless it's like out in like, you know, Nevada City or you know, Death Valley or something.
Salton Sea,
yeah, something like that. Unless it's something like that, to get into commercial property in Southern California is usually a great deal. Usually it's hard to come by. It's hard to come by on your own without having like a ton of capital. So you usually have to find an opportunity that you can get in on. So with that being said, the deal with that gentleman was that he had bought this property. He had taken a risk in 2008 and purchased this property right at the height of the foreclosures. You know, Sacramento and Stockton, California were some of the hardest hit areas, and you know, even more so, harder hit than Riverside County where we are, Pete. And so he had the forethought to buy this land back in 2008. And then not only that, he had a map on the land. So he could build, he had all the permission to do whatever he wanted to do, and he had the forethought to buy this back in 2008.
And it was riverfront.
And now he's giving it away, and it just didn't make sense to me. And to me that says, well, what's wrong with this picture that you're willing to give away this much? And then what happens when you can't reach those goals of returns because something goes, like, what happens if you put too much of a margin in there, or not, not enough of a margin for himself or just for the job in general? What if he offers me, I think he was offering something ridiculous like 15% plus back end. And I get suspicious of deals like that. I don't like them. I think there's something wrong. I think it reeks of desperation. I think somebody knows something that I don't know, and that's why he's so desperately trying to offer more than he needs to. I mean, people are making less than 1%. I have a picture that I was going to throw up as a slide of a picture of at a local bank. The CD rates, and the bank's so proud of these CD rates, and a 1-year CD right now is yielding 0.25%. A 10-year CD is yielding 1.01%. So what the heck is this guy doing offering 15% plus back end?
Yeah, that and what I love about that is I know a lot of you guys that are new right now are listening and going, no, well, we want to give them more. We want to offer more so we make it a great deal. And what you don't realize is you're shooting yourself in the foot by making it an unrealistic looking deal, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the other thing is, too, you have some options with that. If you really want to reward your investors for, you know, believing in you and trusting in you, but you don't want to scare them off with, you know, these ridiculous, like, outrageous returns, the way you can do that is, and this isn't, I don't have a slide for this, and with the way this conversation is going, Pete, we might not get to the end of this presentation, but that's okay.
I told you this was going to be different. I told you that I would rabbit hole you down things, but it's, to me, this is cool. I mean, are you guys appreciating this? Do you guys like what you're hearing? I mean, if you're not, let me know. And if you want us to go in a different direction, let me know that too. So anyways, go ahead.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that out.
No, it's great. So how can you do it? You can offer like a smaller preferred return. You can say to your investors, look, I'll pay you first. I'll pay you first before I pay myself. And I'll pay you 6, 7, 8% on your money before I pay myself. Then I'm going to pay myself. And then after I pay myself, if there's a ton of profit left over, what we'll do is we'll split it, and we'll split it 70-30, 60-40, 50-50, you know, whatever. So that, you know, in the end, at the end of the day, you're not giving away the bank. You're not self-sacrificing so that your investors can make some kind of outrageous return, or, you know, or even worse, not being able to meet that return that you promised the investors because something went wrong and you offered too much. I mean, that to me is the kiss of death. You'll never get another investor again if that happens. So
right.
So, you really want to kind of think about what you're doing and what you're offering. And so you could say, I'm going to give you a 6% return on investment. And then if there is, a profit exceeding 12% return on investment, that's assuming you're paying yourself a matching return, then I will split that, 60% to the investors, 40% to myself, or it could be reversed, 40, 60, whatever. It can be whatever you want. But that way you set the expectations a little lower, and you also don't scare off the investors, and you're really treating the investors the way they need to be treated, which is that they shouldn't be getting these runaway returns.
Well, the problem with that is then they look, when that actually does go down, now those investors expect those kind of returns all the time, right? And what happens as that market starts to go up? Now they start having unrealistic expectations, and us, looking to loan money or borrow money becomes increasingly difficult because they're looking for 20% on their money consistently over and over and over again. And you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. Well, no, it doesn't. But that's what we've been giving them. And because of that, that's what they're now used to, right?
Now you can't come back from that.
Right. Then that's like, exactly. That's like the gas company raising the price of gas and then going, okay, well, now we got a better deal, so we're going to lower it back down to 150. Come on. Right. We're never going to see that pricing again.
No. And no. So exactly. So you have to understand that once you set these investor expectations, that's it. I mean, I had a guy in my office this morning who was talking about, how he offered his investors like a return that now the deals are drying up a little bit, and not as good as they were, in the last 2 years because, the market's getting a little tighter. And he's saying, I can't afford to pay my investors what I used to pay them, and that's really unfortunate. So you really want to set those expectations, get that initial, that promised return, whatever that might be, make that relatively low. So and
what do you think is a good number to start off with that?
6, 7, 8, anywhere between. I mean, I have one of the funds that I'm invested in. One of the funds that does the best for me only does a 5% preferred return, and then I get an equity split on the back end. So.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, now when you look at that, what made you go for a 5% return? Because there's going to be a lot of people that say, well, that's really low. And Jillian, you're not dumb, you're smart. So how did that make sense to you? And why was that a good fund for you to invest in?
Because I knew the type of properties that they were investing in. It was a market that I liked. I knew they were experts in that marketplace. I knew I wasn't going to lose any money.
They were experts. What made them experts?
They've been buying in this marketplace. It's Cincinnati, and they've been buying in that marketplace for the last 20 years. They have the access to the best deals. They constantly, Did you know them for 20 years, or how long did you know them? No, I've known them for probably about 4 or 5 years.
Okay, so 4 or 5 years. Here you are 4 or 5 years ago. I'm sure somebody come and presented the fund to you and asked you about getting involved, or maybe you looked into it or whatever.
Right.
How did you determine that they were experts? What did you do to determine if they were experts? Because you didn't know them it's not like it was a high school friend of yours for the last 20 years.
No.
So what did you do as far as research?
You just made something. Oh God. I had a high school friend ask me to invest in their business, and I didn't. So, that is not, that should not be a criteria. You really got to look at what they're doing, what they're talking about. It's really, it really comes down to, are they posting pictures of the rehabs they've done online, or are they showing you what they've done? Are they talking about what they've done? Are they sharing their successes and their failures? Are they, is there a constant line of communication where you can see physically, visibly what they're doing? Do they have a strong network of people that you can talk to and know that they're out there and that
they're brand?
Yeah, and this particular person that I'm invested with is not a warm and fuzzy person at all. Nice, but not warm and fuzzy. it does not need to work to make you. As a matter of fact, the best fundraisers I know, not one single one of them is warm and fuzzy. They're all the exact opposite. They're very aloof, and they'd rather not have your money in the first place. You're a nuisance to them as an investor. They're doing you they're doing you a favor. So
they're doing you a favor. I love that. So that the idea of exclusiveness, right?
Exactly. And they are. And think about it. They are doing you a favor, because what kind of money are you making in the stock market? And if you are making money in the stock market, how close of attention are you paying to those stocks in order to make that money?
Yeah, it's consuming your time daily. I mean, that's crazy. The stock, and I'm not saying anything bad about the stock market. Don't get me wrong. I just have lost money in the stock. I mean, I've made and lost money in a lot of different things, and to me, that was the one thing that I just didn't have the time to invest in, because it was fun to me. It was like, I mean, honestly, the stock market to me is like an adult, Vegas. I mean, it's like a legal Vegas. You can bet, you can gamble, you can guess, you can do all kinds of stuff, and you can lose a ton of money just like you can in Vegas. And you have to really be paying attention to not only what the stock is, what the company's doing, what's involved around that company, where they're located. I mean, there's so many different things that can go into why that company is going to do well or bad. And so for me, I liked real estate as a more controlled atmosphere, for lack of a better term, I guess. Right.
No, and I get it. And there's so many things. Like, I mean, I think I've told this story before, but I've had many friends who've come up to me and said, I'm not making any money in my 401k. How can I get into real estate investing? And not one single one of those people who's ever said that to me, when I said, oh, you should go to like a C2C RIA meeting, or you should listen to Pete and Ivan's podcast, or you should go to
radio show, by the way. I don't know if you're aware that we are 2014 Best Breakthrough Radio Show Award.
I saw that. I saw your award that you got. That was pretty awesome.
That's way awesome.
I liked it on Facebook.
I liked it. I liked it in person. I think I slept with the thing last night. I was so excited. I love it. Oh my God. I love it, man. Yes,
it's my baby.
It is. It's because I care. I'm honestly, I'm about impacting the world. Like, that's what I really want to do, and I think that I have the ability to really create things that are interesting for people to listen to and learn from. Like this webinar right here. This is not your typical webinar. Right? This is definitely not your typical interview or anything that you've done. We're talking, we're having fun, we're laughing. And at the same time, we're educating people, and they're going to learn what we're talking about, and they're going to learn from it. Does that make sense? I mean, it's just a different way to transfer information and to impact people. And that's, I mean, I love what I do. And I love working with people like you, because you make it fun. I mean, not a lot of people are beautiful and attractive. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot to have both of those things. You know what I mean? To be smart and intelligent. I mean, come on. That's not something that you run across every day. So to have amazing people in my life like you, Jillian, is an accomplishment. And I'm grateful for it. So, I know I'm being funny and stuff, but for real, I am grateful for you. And I'm grateful that you're involved with us and that you're on. If you guys don't know, Jillian's on the radio with us every other Tuesday, and she always brings us a different tip. And because of that, that's kind of like why we started. I decided, hey, I want to get you on an actual webinar. We've been talking about doing this webinar for the last 2 months, it seems like. But she's been so busy. And so this was a night that she had open and available. And it's like, man, I got to get you on. I want to also bring up, if you guys have questions, man, make sure that that you guys ask. Anything that you guys are curious about, anything that you guys want to know, please make sure that you say something during this during the webinar. So anyways, I will let you get back on track, Jillian, and go to your next slide.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was making a point, though, about telling people, who are invested in our 401ks and miserable and want to get into real estate investing, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, though. All those people I say to, well, you should take some real estate classes, and you should do this on the weekend, and you should go here, and you should bird dog. All of those people
Or too busy?
Generally speaking, they don't want to do it. They literally don't want to do it. They don't want to give up their weekends. They don't want to give up their evenings. I mean, like, look at it. This is 6 o'clock, at night that we're doing this, and people are here listening to this. You could be eating dinner or watching TV, vegging out.
There's not a lot of people like the 35 people we have on this webinar. No, it's different. And you're right. You've got to give things up. I mean, let's talk about what you gave up, Jillian. When you became a lawyer, was everything just easy for you?
Yeah, it was super easy because I am intelligent and smart, and I'm also attractive and beautiful. So I was able to sleep my way through law school.
Wow, that is amazing. There is not a lot of people that can claim that kind of fame. So so you have that. That's good.
Yeah, no, it was not.
How difficult? I mean, it's like, not a lot of people can do that kind of work, but the fact is, if we take it to a real level right now, and we're not being funny and joking around, which we typically do, Jillian went through a lot of stuff to make it where she is. I mean, I think she's just halfway laughing because she's in hysterics over like that she's still alive and has made it through. The cornfield incident when she was, when they were on tour and she almost didn't make it back home. And then they had a van, and then the van was down by the river, and then that's never any good. And then they had to get it towed back up, and then they had to borrow a car, and then they're in California, and the van's in I don't even know where, some cornfield in Idaho. And she says, I'm done. And she leaves. I mean, there was a lot of things. And in fact, I got to tell you, Jillian, I want you to also be on our Friday night webinar called Women Entrepreneurs in Real Estate, because I think you could add a lot of value to that webinar as well. But this webinar is really kind of just focused on the whole money thing. So I don't want to keep rabbit holing you on different topics.
No, that's okay. But like, my point is these people are not willing to do this. But you know what they are willing to do? They're willing to write checks. And that's all they're willing to do. So you got to find those people who aren't willing to spend the time but are willing to write a check.
Okay, so that's a good transition.
Yeah, everybody's out there. They are out there. I am telling you, there's doctors, lawyers, business executives, people who just don't want to give up their weekends, but they want to invest. And they are looking for those of you that are out there and in the game and that are listening to this webinar right now, they are looking for you. They desperately need you. You do not need them, they need you. And I need you to change your mindset to believe that. You have to believe that, because that is very true.
Absolutely.
There's tons of money out there, not tons of time.
That's a great point. And the fact of the matter is, what are you guys doing that are listening? What are you going to do differently to start going out there and doing things? I think that's what Jillian's transitioning into now, which is, what should you be doing? What should they be doing? What's a way for them to go out and attack money?
Well, okay, let's get back to this. So here we get back to our website that's basically looking for all kinds of money, and then they do this very clever thing. They tell you this isn't a security, that this isn't intended to be soliciting a security, and we're just doing a private borrowing transaction, and blah 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 blah. So they try to disclaim it. This does not work. Just because it's kind of like that thing, like there's a famous Abraham Lincoln quote. It says, if you have a dog and you call the tail a leg, how many legs does the dog have? And the answer is 4, because calling the tail a leg does not make it so. And so this is the same thing here. Just because you are disclaiming and saying you're not selling a security does not make it so. The selling of a security there's a 4-pronged test, and I want you all, if you can write this down, I want you to write it down. If you can't, just try to remember it. You can do this with any deal that you're doing, and you could say, well, do these rules that Jillian's talking about apply to me? And here's how you know. Is there an investment of money? Number 1. Number 2, is there an investment of money in a common enterprise? And what a common enterprise means is basically you're taking money from more than one person. So if you're doing like a one-person deal and that's it, no, I don't mean one person per property. I mean, you only have one investor, period. Then this doesn't apply to you. But if you have more than one investor, even if it's just an investor over here on this property, an investor over here on this property, investor over here on that property. The commonality, the common enterprise is you. So these rules apply. So there's investment of money in a common enterprise with the expectation of profits. So if your investors expect you to give them profits along with their money back, then there's an expectation of profits, and you are selling a security perhaps. And the fourth element is through the efforts of a promoter. Through the efforts of a promoter means, are you doing all the work? And of course you're going to be doing all the work, because you just want your investors to write a check and go away. So it's those four elements. Is there investment in money in a common enterprise with the expectation of profits through the efforts of a promoter? And if you answer yes to all of those, then you're selling a security, and these rules that we're talking about apply to you. So why do you want to worry about this? Remember Alfred E. Newman, Mad Magazine, Pete?
Yes, I do remember this.
So why do you want to worry? Well, because this is what could happen, and this is a great example. Because remember, I was talking about those words and solicitation. Respondents are involved in the rehabilitation, sale, and management of real property for investment purposes. Respondents solicited individuals to invest in promissory notes. So anytime you hear a promissory note's exempt, you are wrong. A promissory note is a security. It doesn't matter if it's secured by a deed of trust or mortgage. A deed of trust or mortgage is defined as an asset-backed security. That's all it is, which were to be secured by real estate. That's a deed of trust or mortgage. Respondents use the term private lenders to describe note holders. Is this all sounding familiar to many of you out there? Oh my gosh,
man.
Yeah. Respondents advertise the notes described in paragraphs 3 through 5 using several different media, including newspaper, radio, and seminars. This advertising compared the notes to federally insured certificates of deposit. Advertisements used by respondents also represented that the notes were guaranteed, low risk, safe, and secure. And there we see our four words.
Man, all in one sentence too.
Right. So what were these folks told to do? They were told that they must cease and desist from ever raising money or raising money without proper documentation. So now let's talk about the right way to do it. Why is the screen not changing? I don't know. Anyhow, this is, let me do this. What's going on? Hold on one second. For some reason, the screen is not changing. Give me 2 seconds here.
It changed. It changed again.
There it goes. Okay, there we go. All right, so here we go. This is the way you should be looking at your website. This is an older web. This website is not what it looks like now. These are old screenshots from this website. So if you go to this website now, it doesn't exactly look like this. I just want to say that. But this is a great example of a good website, because here in 30 seconds we know exactly what this company does. They invest in Southern California real estate, period. Okay? And we know that they have experience and so on and so forth. They don't talk anywhere on here about investors or wanting to get investors. Then they have their how to get in touch with them. They have a newsletter, and they have their social media. And here they have something really interesting. I'm talking all about, don't solicit for investors, don't use means of general solicitation. And then they have here something really curious, and it says how to profit from foreclosures. Our presentation on how to profit from foreclosures is in 2 hours. What they do in that webinar is actually very interesting. They don't tell you how to invest with them. They instead go through the entire process of how to buy a foreclosure in California, how to rehab it, and how to get it back on the market. And they overwhelm the listener or the attendee with information. They just simply overwhelm them with information. And to the point where the attendee watches the webinar and goes, I can't do this by myself. I need an expert. These gentlemen have clearly done this before, are clearly experts in this, and therefore I'm going to ask them how I can invest. And that's how they do it. And it works. It truly, truly works. And so I want you to keep that in mind. Now, on the right here, we see join our newsletter. Now, I like that and I don't like that. And let me tell you why I like it. I like it because you want to be able to capture people who are coming to your website, who are coming to wherever you are. But why don't I like it? I have no motivation to sign up for this newsletter. I'm pretty sure, you know, we're in an age now where nobody gives away their email address for just any old reason because they don't want to get spammed, right? They want to give away their email address for good reasons. Their email addresses now are coveted. We don't just give them out anymore. So there's no motivation to give anything, my personal information here. So they need to add something here that would provide motivation for me to sign up for the newsletter. I'm going to show you how to do that. They also have a disclaimer at the bottom here saying that this is not an offer to sell securities, just in case. And also, this gives the reader an idea that perhaps they do entertain outside investors. So it's kind of tricky. Tricky little trick.
Well, yeah. and the other thing is, when you're talking about this, you're talking about the fact that they're using hooks, right?
Right.
They're basically going out and going, look, let us help you. But what about the new person who maybe doesn't have information and doesn't have the ability to do a 2-hour seminar? What could he do or she do?
If I say that, Pete, I don't think I could fully understood that question. That might just be me, but
I'm sorry. I'll say it in English this time. I said, what about if somebody is just listening and they're like, well, that's awesome, but I don't have the ability to do a 2-hour presentation. So how do I do something that could then generate this same type of thing, right? What if they don't have a website like this yet? They don't have all those types of things. What could they do?
Oh, well, first of all, you got to get out there. There's so many different ways to do this. Now, I'm focusing right now on your website. But I guess what you're asking me is if I don't want to put a website together, or I'm not web savvy, or
yes.
I don't have enough information to do that. First of all, I'm sorry. That is a crap excuse. There's plenty of people out there who can build you a website on the cheap. This particular website is built on a WordPress platform, which makes it really, really easy to update. That's how I recommend most people build. My website's on a WordPress platform.
So is mine.
Super user-friendly, as you know. And there's just no reason for it. Hire somebody. You're looking to take somebody's money and you can't build a website? Just build a website.
That's true. And I think it goes back to, again, and I'm only saying David Fagan just because I was at his event yesterday, but it's all about creating that icon in the industry. It's about, like you said in the beginning, becoming an expert, right? When you become an expert in that industry, nobody's an expert and then doesn't have a website. Nobody's an expert and doesn't have different things to back them up. They do. They have connections. They have relationships, and they're looking at helping other people. If you really look at a lot of the experts out there, they're constantly helping everybody around them, right? Because that's what is going to signify to a lot of people going, man, they really do know what they're doing. And then they want to help you more, or they want to help back or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
No, I do. I do know what you're saying. And not only that, I'm not saying that you have, I have clients who raise tons of money without using a website. I have one guy in Michigan who almost flat out refuses it, but he does a lot of other things. And I really, that makes me nervous. That makes me nervous when somebody says, well, I don't want to build a website. Well, welcome to 2014. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Welcome to 2014. Absolutely. Okay. So what are some other things that we can do then, Jillian?
Okay. So what are some other things you can do? Well, let's get through. Let me click here. Hello. Goodbye.
Oh, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
From Steve Hamilton. Can you solicit for partners, not money per se, but partners?
You can always solicit for partners,
awesome. Wow, thank you, Steve. That was very cool of you to put that last part in there real quick. No, I'm just reading what I wrote, or he wrote.
All right, here's the thing. I know that trick, and so do the regulators. If you're advertising for partners, and then the end game is to get their money, and in the end that's what you end up doing, then it's a means of general solicitation. You can't say you're looking for partners and then just ask for their money. You can't do that.
So what can you do? So what does that mean though? So you can't solicit for partners. What would soliciting for partners look like, first of all? Would that be just putting out, hey, look, I'm looking for partners in a safe, secure? I mean, you couldn't do it like that, right? So and I don't know, honestly, Steve, like, I'm not saying anything negative about your question or making fun of you at all. Like, I literally don't know. How would you do that? What would that look like? Because if we knew what that looked like, what is it exactly that you're saying that you can't do, Jillian? You're saying you can't solicit, the person becomes a partner and then you just ask them for money. Okay, so could we solicit for partners? And again, I want to understand what that looks like. But if we figure out what that looks like, can we solicit? And then let's say Jillian you become a partner of mine, and I'm like, well, I don't just need money. I need help creating a 501(c) or whatever that is.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. If you put the partner to work, then you eliminate the fourth element of the equation. Remember, we have 4 elements. Is there investment of money in a common enterprise with the expectation of profits through the efforts of a promoter? And you're eliminating that fourth one. So if you're actually soliciting partners for the purpose of soliciting a true partner and not just a money partner, then you have the elements of selling security, and this doesn't apply. But do you really want to get in business with a bunch of different people?
See, that's the other part, right? So then if I solicit for those partners, now once they become, they're no longer silent. And that's where the issue becomes, because now they've got a voice, right. And now you've got 5 people telling you how they want to do things as well as you. And now you've got fights. And because they're a active partner, you've got to listen. And now you've got a lot more challenges ahead of you, right?
Right.
Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. So, anywho, remember I was talking about how WealthPoint, had a space for you to join their newsletter, but then they weren't very good about how to get people into that newsletter. Well, here's Apartment Investors. Again, on their first page, this is an excerpt from their first page. It tells us exactly what they do. They invest in apartment buildings, in emerging markets in the Midwest. That's what they do. They tell you right away. Over here on the left-hand side, we see sign up for our newsletter. Okay, but they give you the motivation to do so. Multifamily Market Intelligence Report. Get access to exclusive off-market opportunities. Oh my gosh, these guys have off-market opportunities. I'm going to sign up for this deal. They're offering something in exchange for signing up for their newsletter.
And something exclusive, something that not everybody can get to, and that the only way that you're going to get access to that is by having this off-market. Now, that is something that everybody listening can do. That is actionable information right there. You create a website, you can create an exclusive report with off-market opportunities. Well, what does that really mean? Because we don't want to lie, but here's the fact. If you get, if you're out there and you're networking with wholesalers, and wholesalers are going to bring you what? Off-market opportunities, right? You're legitimately going to get access to some off-market opportunities.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing is too to think, wait, they have access to off-market opportunities. Here's the psychology behind this. They have access. These are all things that go on underneath the surface. Investing is an extremely psychological game that oftentimes the investor doesn't even know that it's being played. And that's, I'm not trying to tell you to play mind games. I'm not trying to tell you to play mind games, but that you have to dig in there. You have to get in there in order for them to come. You want your investors to come to their own conclusions. Correct. That is the best way to get investors through the door. That's really what we're trying to do. We're not trying to play mind games. We're trying to get your investors to come to their own conclusions, to come up to their own. And let's
also say this, Jillian.
Yeah.
It's not about playing mind games. It's about getting your point of view heard. It's about getting what you really want and intended to be said and understood understood. So
Right.
it's not about mind games, but it's about being effective in a very, very short period of time. And the way that that's going to be done is by setting moods, setting tones, and that's going to be done through emotional triggers. And
Right.
so, you know, when you see exclusive, when you see off market, when you see opportunities, when you see get access, right? These are all emotional triggers. Even looking at the colors that they used, blue, greens, right? It makes you it makes you happy. It's not, they didn't use black and red, right? That whole thing isn't all blacked out with like red writing saying multifamily marketing intelligence report. Holy crap, you'd want to kill yourself after seeing that. You know what I mean? They're creating an emotional response that makes you want to sign up. It makes you want to click. And you guys can do that. You guys can create these types of things. It's just about wanting to do it. And it's about listening to what we're saying. And especially what the advice that Jillian's giving you guys right now. And here's another thing. You guys want to know how to go find money? I'm going to tell you right now. Go to c2creia.com/5 places. That's c2creia.com/5 places. That is a document that Jillian came up with. And it's the 5 places to find cash. It's the 5 places to find money. And here's the funny thing. I promise you, what you think is going to be in there, it isn't. It's awesome. A lot of people think, oh, it's going to be RIA clubs, right? That's what's going to be there. All you have is the RIA club in San Diego, the RIA club in Orange County. That's what you have in there, right, Jillian? Those are the 5 places.
That's right. There's 5 RIAs.
5 RIA clubs all around the country.
Yeah, those are the worst places to go. You got to go get the little thing.
That's right. And real quick, just to give them a little tip, why is a RIA the worst place to go typically?
Because everybody's there looking for money.
Because everybody's there looking for money, which means it's a great place to go to look for opportunity, but not necessarily to look for money. For instance, right. I'm putting on the RIAs when we do the Wake Up Wednesdays, when we do the Wine and Dine Wednesdays, when everybody comes out and sees me, I'm always like, look, I'm looking for deals. I've got money. I'm looking for deals. Bring me a legitimate deal and I will close on it. I will pull the trigger, because the reality is everybody else there is all looking for people that will do that. Right. It's like, it's cool because I'm the only one that will do that. You know what I mean? And now we got Omar. So now there's another person that pulls the triggers at these events too. But for me, it's amazing because it puts a lot of people in front of me that want to bring deals. And so you've got to look at it from your point. I'm not looking for the money necessarily at those events. I'm looking for deals at those events. I go to other places to network for money. And that's the point that Jillian's making. And it's pretty cool, man, because I didn't realize that that's what I was doing until I read your thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is exactly what I do. But I didn't even think about the places that you were talking about. I just do it at random spots, like the gas station. Like I just talk to people and I ask, what do you want to do? It's just something that's natural within me now. I've just become a born interviewer. So with that, what is it that you look to do when you're looking? Jillian, you're the perfect target audience. You're a highly intelligent person. You're a successful businesswoman. You're a family person. You're looking towards the future too. You have, you're an attorney, so you have some expendable income. You're also an investor. So you just told everybody that you invest in a fund that gives you 5% plus a kick on the back. So the reality is you're the perfect audience for us.
Right.
So what is it that you're looking for when you look for deals? What is it that makes you feel safe and comfortable? Does that make sense? Like, what is it that our target audience is really looking for so that they can say yes? How do we make them say yes? That's what I'm asking.
I sometimes, and I don't know what kind of audience we're speaking to, what kind of, levels of experience people have. It's really the ability I don't want information shoved down my throat. I would prefer to be the one who asks the questions and get the answers that I need. Like if you're talking to me about investing the very first time we meet, you've already turned me way off. I'm never going to invest.
So I was trying to sleep with somebody on the first date.
Exactly.
Hi, my
It's
name's
like,
Pete. Do you want to go and sleep together real quick?
yeah, exactly. No, it's done. You're done. Like it's never
So
gonna.
this is the wine
We're
and
never
dine
gonna work
type
out.
of thing. We've got to get to know you, right? That's what you're saying. So
Well,
let me.
but
Well,
here's the
I
thing.
wanted to say, let me share
Yeah.
it with you guys real quick. When we talk about, if you guys don't have a business page and a personal website, I'm going to share with you the reason why there's a good reason to have a hero site or a personal site. And if you go, you'll see that there's c2crea.com, and that is my business site, right? And now I have peteasmus.com is now up. It's running. It's fully functional. All of our daily videos now go onto that site, and all of the real estate stuff goes on to C2C REIA. So I've pulled all the motivation off, not off of it, but I've made a link to it. But I've created two different sites, and there's a specific reason, because when people go and they look at Pete Asmus, they're going to be able to go to my website and they're going to be able to see all kinds of stuff about me, but not anything that's out there selling them anything. Right? I have the thing about join the challenge, but that's it, because the challenge is free. So the idea is you have that personal site, and that personal site basically sells you. And when Jillian's talking about what makes you feel comfortable, getting to know you, dating, right? Well, the first thing you'd want to do is send them to a site that tells them about you, so that they can start to fall in love with you, and they can start to be like, man, this, I really do like them. And then you send them to your business site too. And now on there, you're showing them before and afters, and you're showing them this and that. And hey, sign up for this market report and sign. But you see what I'm saying? There's two different entities. Does that make sense?
Right. Right.
What do you think about that, Jillian?
No, I think that's right. And the other thing is too, you can the web is a great way to constantly get people, and see, Pete, you do this all the time. It's a constant way to get people information and value without forcing them to take it, allowing people to take what they want and reject what they don't want.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, in other words, if you have a video up and the video is about, a subject that I'm interested in, then I can elect to watch it. And then you might put another video up, and I might not want to watch that video, and I don't have to. But then but because you've added value already, I will continue to wait to see if you add anything else. And then I will, click on those things that I do want to watch, and not click on those things that I don't want to watch.
You know that I took myself out of the videos now, right? Just so you'll watch the whole thing and not fast forward to them anymore.
That example, I knew you were going to say something like that.
I just wanted you to know that I actually got out of the car, even just to show you that I'm not even in the car anymore. I'm behind the car.
This always turns into a thing where I'm like personally insulting you, or I was just it's hyperbole. It's hyperbole.
I know. I love you though. It's fun.
But my point is that it's a great way to get information out to people and add value. So what should you be doing? What should you be doing? You should be worrying about adding value to people's lives, and adding value to people, and maybe even bragging a little. I know that sounds kind of funny, but like one of the guys I know that is able to raise a lot of money is because he's consistently talking about the deals he does, how good they're going, and he gives before and after pics. And so there's just constant, a constant update. Now, here's a method I use in my own newsletter. Let's talk about my own newsletter and how I use this method of a newsletter to. And
how would I get on that newsletter, by the way?
You can go to. I think you can go.
PeteIsAwesome.com?
JillianSidoti.com or syndicationlawyers.com.
So close. So if they go to Jillian Sidoti, I guess, which is another way to say Pete Asmus, but if they go to JillianSidoti.com, they could then sign up for Jillian's monthly newsletter or weekly newsletter. And what do you do in that newsletter? What is the offering, and what is the value and the content that you provide in that newsletter?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. I let me say this. Honestly, if you're gonna, I don't have to be so consistent about it now because I have plenty of work and business, and I know, and you live in this giant house that has a moat of commoners around it, or what do they call it, a castle or something? I don't know. No, and I wish I was. I wish I followed my own advice, because when you're consistent in things, I'm just ignoring you. When you're consistent with things, it always goes better. to be honest. So let me say that much at first, that I am not consistent, and I do not do this on a consistent basis. But there was a time that I was consistent with it, and I'll tell you what I did. And when I was consistent, I was very successful. And here's what I did. I did 3 things in my newsletter, and I still use the same format. 3 things. Number one is something that adds value to the readers' lives, whether it be entertaining, whether it be funny, whether it be something about the law, but it adds value to the reader's life.
Okay.
Number 2 is a personal anecdote. And then number 3 is is usually something like either, we have a workshop coming up, or here's a new change in the law. It's something serious. It may be an advertisement for something that we're doing, or it could be something serious. But I use that 3-thing model. So it's not always serious, and it's not always funny. So that the person who's reading it can always expect 3 things, and they usually want to see at least one of those things. And as a matter of fact, the most clicked on thing that I ever had was a Mr. Rogers video.
What?
So yeah.
Man, so it just goes to show you that people, they like things that they feel comfortable with.
Right. And people like to be entertained. And if I just write boring legal stuff all the time, they're not going to open it. That's not entertaining. If they really need a lawyer, they'll just call me. So I have to really think about, snippets of information that give people pause and pause to the point where they call me. Or they come to a workshop or something, and then the other things are, funny and personal and give people, like one time my dog ran away from home, and I wrote about how my dog ran away from home.
Right.
And how, she actually ran away from home for 6 hours. I took
the dog, and I took it down the street. I didn't want to say anything, but I figured it's time to come out and let you know. I'm in the closet, in the guest bedroom over there. So please come over here, because I'd like to get this handled.
Wow, you've got somebody's in your house, ma'am. They're calling you from in the house.
Anyhow.
No, that was entertaining, right? You said entertaining. I don't know. Maybe this would be better. Hold on.
I can hold on.
I can sing. That's Kanye's. Anyway. Okay. So you said be entertaining. I'm just trying to be entertaining. That's all. I feel like there's a need.
Amazing. Yeah, and when my dog ran away from home, this is why I was entertaining, because nobody really cares if your dog ran away from home. That sounds pretty tragic. This is why I was entertaining, because when my dog ran away from home, she was gone for 6 hours, and I found her in a neighbor's house, and she acted like she'd already moved in and found her new family.
She was happier at the new house than she was at home.
She was just like, "Oh, hey, I've got this new family here, so I'll see you soon."
I feel really awkward that you showed up and I'm here and there you are and now I'm caught, and it isn't what it looks like, Mom. It's not what it looks like at all.
No, but people love that story. They loved hearing that story. One day I wrote in my newsletter, I really couldn't think of anything, but you know what? I had the song Jolene in my head all day long. No, right. That wasn't the song. I had the song Man-Eater in my head all day long. You know, like Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
Whoa, here she comes.
I got you.
So I just posted that video and sent it to people, and I was like, you're probably wondering why I'm sending you this video right now. It's because I have it in my head all day, and I wanted you to be miserable with me. So here you go. People thought that was great.
See, so.
Oh, and by the way, the Jobs Act isn't passed yet. Bye.
Well, you know what you're showing is, Jillian, you're showing the fact that what made people respond and react to your emails was you being personable. Was you talking about your life? Was you sending the video was because it was in your head. Your dog running away, that was something that happened to you. You were allowing people to connect with you. And that's what drew people in. So all of you guys right now that are going, look, I want to raise money. I want to do it the right way. Start drawing people in by your personal life. Start drawing people in by who you actually are, because you're amazing and you're interesting. And here's the thing, guys. You think that it's exciting to be excited for a day or a week, but the reality is
winning is not a sometime thing. It's an all the time thing. You don't win once in a while, and you don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit.
That's right. Winning is a habit, and there's a reason for that.
Go ahead and tell everybody, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man.
You can tell everybody. Wait, man, this is supposed to fade out way slower than that. So the idea is we want to be amazing. We want to connect with people. We want to have a better life. And the reason that you guys are on this call is because you want a better life. You want more opportunities, and you obviously want to do it the right way. So how do you do that? Well, one way is going to be you should reach out and look, you've had this amazing hour and a half now here on the phone with Jillian. You guys can ask any questions, but we're going to be wrapping this up in the next 10 minutes. I'm not going to keep her on the phone for 3 hours or anything like that. So if you guys have questions specific for Jillian that you'd like to ask in public, please ask now. Tell us, write them, whatever. If you have questions that you'd like to ask Jillian in private, that's okay too. You can email Jillian at Jillian, Jillian, at JillianSidoti.com. So that's Jillian, Jillian, at JillianSidoti.com. So it's that easy. You can also search her name on our website, and you can find all kinds of stuff that we've done together so far, from all of the radio interviews and everything else. I definitely recommend Jillian. I've hung out with her. I know her personally, and I just love who she is. I love who her family is. And they really care. They want a different life, and they want to help other people. I mean, it takes a lot for somebody to become an attorney and then go, you know what I'm going to specialize in? Securities. I'm going to go ahead and help other people raise money. I just think that's a great way. And she's cooking right now, and she doesn't care, right? I mean, I could be talking about her and telling everybody how awesome she is, but she's going to be cooking or trying to phone home or whatever. Is that EP in there? What is going on?
No, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. My phone just keeps beeping crazy, and I'm trying to turn it off. So I'm sorry. It won't stop. It won't
All right,
stop.
well,
I'm sorry.
It's Jillian Sidoti. So yeah, and also Jillian, what phone number could they call you at?
You can call me at 323-799-1342.
Cool. Say that one more time for me.
323-799-1342.
And that's your main office too, right?
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about you for the last couple minutes here before we bolt. You just expanded, didn't you? I mean, you had your own practice, and now you've actually merged with a couple other amazing attorneys so that you guys could take on more, right?
Correct.
Talk to me about that.
I merged with another firm called Trowbridge and Taylor, and so now we're Trowbridge, Taylor, Sidoti.
Asmus.
And it's pretty awesome because now we have more manpower and more. We just have more of it, ability to do greater services for more people, and really kind of streamline our services so we're not duplicating efforts. And
how does that work? Like, so now that did anybody focus on anything that you didn't focus on before?
No, we're still focusing on the same thing, but the great thing about it is that because Kim and Jean do private offerings as well, I can actually offer greater services, and Kim's actually going to start offering, Regulation A offerings and public offerings and California registered offerings, and we'll just have more time and space to provide those types of services for a greater audience.
So you can take coast to coast public.
Oh, sure, if you really wanted to go public.
Yeah. What? Oh, is that not something I would want? I want to be like Steve Jobs. Well, not like Steve Jobs, the first Steve Jobs, the second one. Like when he came back and then he rocked and ruled the world. That's what I want to be. How do I do that? Is there a company I can start for that? No, So did you have fun tonight, by the way?
Pete, you always ask that question. It's always the same answer. Yes, of course.
Well, I got to make sure because that is important to me. I mean, I know that that you could be doing a lot of things. And so I really am grateful for you to come on and do this webinar. And again, guys, look, you can tell my webinars, they're not like anything else, man. We go until we're done. We don't wait. We don't cut it off. That's the cool thing about these is that it's all about providing great information and great knowledge. So, and resources. And Jillian is a fantastic resource. So with that, guys, I wanted to thank everybody for being on the webinar tonight. You guys can tell everybody about it. Make sure that you talk in spades about Jillian on Facebook, on Twitter, on everything else. Just say what an amazing job she did tonight because she honestly did, man. And it's pretty cool. But with that, I'm good. Jillian, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. No questions?
Nice. No questions right now. Oh, wait, hold on. Awesome info. Thanks, Mike Jensen. All right. You guys got it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Woo! Without you, there is no us because you put the Y in our success, guys. Have a great night and go make something happen. Bye.